Hello everyone and welcome to Stan the Wine Man TV. I'm your host, Stan Rattan, and this is the Blue Collar Wine Show where I try to help you spend your wine dollars wisely. And you know, I don't know why, but every time we come up to Columbus Day, which is, next month, I always think about Italian wines, because Columbus was Italian. So, I always start thinking, but not just that. I always think Italian wines when it starts raining outside like it is now. It just seems to me that Italian wines kind of personify the fall. They are kind of the wine of the fall. When I get into winter, I start looking for more maybe richer wines, cabs, for comfort food. I don't know. I've never really actually sat down and really thought about it a lot, but it seems to me that every time I hit fall, I think Italian wines. Now you notice I have one in the glass already. That's because one of these Italian wines that I'm going to be reviewing is a Barolo, the big boy of northern Italy, Piedmont, Nebbiolo. And so, it needs some decanting, it needs some time, it needs some air. Whenever you open a Nebbiolo, a Barolo, a Barbaresco, I would suggest that you give it some time to decant. They look very thin, they look very light, but boy, they pack a punch in the flavor department. So we're actually going to go in 3 different areas of Italy, just looking at these Italian wines, all the way from $11 all the way up to 85 bucks. Say 85 bucks, you can't get a very good Barolo Barbaresco for a lot less than that. There are some out there, and if you find them, great, snap them up if that's the style of wine that you like. Just want to talk for a minute about the purpose of this program. It is a wine education program, not so much about wine reviews, although I do grade the wines because I want you to know how I feel about them. If you're going to spend the money on these wines, I want you to at least know how I think of them, whether they're worth it or not. That's the first thing. So as we go through these wines, I want to talk a little bit about why Italian wines make a great fall wine. First of all, we start, it starts raining outside. We may be, it's still warm, so we might still be barbecuing, because we just don't want to give up the summer. A lot of us don't want to do that. Of course, if you're down in Cali, Florida, places like that, of course you don't have to give up summertime. Maybe it gets a little cooler from time to time, but you have better weather throughout the year. But, that's why I live in the Pacific Northwest, because I like the change of seasons. I really do. I like fall. Not big fan of winter. I don't like snow. But when it does come, you're kind of like, this is pretty. It is. It makes great scenery. I love the spring. Love the spring. Starts warming up, and then of course summertime here in the Pacific Northwest. It can be kind of sketchy. Sometimes you get good weather, sometimes you don't. We had a great summer up here in the San Juan Islands. Didn't get a lot of rain, a lot of warm weather. It was really nice. Now it's raining. What can I say? I went to the bank today and somebody said, we need the rain. We are going to get rain. We are. It just happens. We don't need it. We're going to get it. And we're getting it now. Let's get started. You notice a couple of changes. I took away the tablecloth. I have this nice kind of stone top bar. I'm just going to be careful about the noise. I think I really like my bar. I don't need to cover it up. Let's go to the first wine. This is from Puglia, the heel of the boot of Italy. You look at Italy, it's kind of got like a boot shape, and this is the, it kind of comes down, there's the toe. Well, this is the heel of the boot. Down in the south, a lot of great wines come from Puglia. We're all used to Tuscany, we're all used to northern Piedmont, Verona, where they make the big Amarones. This one is from Puglia. It rolls in at $11. Now, this is a blend. We just did that last episode, a couple back, on the blends from the Languedoc of France and how people are kind of like, you know, they don't want to experiment with them because they don't know what they are. Well, this is also a blend from Puglia, and it's funny because French blends, like from Languedoc, I think more of, at least in my demographics, more of the customers kind of shy away from those blends, whereas with Italy they seem to be willing to experiment. And this is 40% Negramaro, 30% Primitivo, and 30% Cabernet Sauvignon. So Primitivo is kind of like, you know, the kissing cousin to Zinfandel, and then Negramaro is a grape that I really like. It reminds me a little bit of a Cabernet, but it is a little softer in the tannin department, at least from what I've experienced from it. Okay, let's see what we get on the nose. So this has that nice kind of leather earth current thing going on, like leather earth current, all of them together. Got a little bit of a tobacco element. And this is one of the things, and we've talked about this before, you find this a lot with old world wines. They get that leather, they get the earth, they get the minerality, they get the tar, tobacco. Very common with old world wines. Get a little bit of black raspberry on the backside. I want to excuse my phone is going off. I forgot to turn it off. But you get the fruit, which is, I find a lot from Puglia. There's definitely more fruit-driven wines, although they're not fruity like, let's say, some of the, like an Apothic Red or a Marriott Old Vine Red or anything like that. They are definitely the old world style, but definitely you get more fruit on the nose than you would expect from an old world wine. Get a little black olive. Let's see what we get on the palate. So lots of cherries and currants and a little bit of spice. I like the spice. I get a little minerality, like that kind of crushed rock thing going on. The leather is definitely part of the flavor profile. Got a nice little brightness in the back end, kind of a beam of brightness. I wouldn't call it an acidic wine, but it definitely has acid. When you're talking about acid, when you're having a, you know, you're having a stew or you're having a roast beef or somebody's being really persistent on the phone here. Hey Cameron, can you get that please? It's probably your sister. Anyway, somebody did not want to give up on the phone. Just a nice, you know, kind of cherry, blackberry fruit coming through with that little bit of spiciness, good acidity. Like I said, when you're having stew, roast beef, chili, something like that, this would be an excellent wine. That's why I think I tend to go towards Italian wines in the fall, because of that, you know, that comfort, well, not comfort food, but the warm foods, the soups, the chilies, the pot roasts, the stews. You know, this really goes with those types of food. In fact, tonight I'm going to try and make a gnocchi with a 4 cheese sauce. This would be excellent. I'm going to go B+ on that wine for $11. It's a steal. And once again, I better give it a close-up of this wine. You think I didn't do these before. Tomaresca Naprica. Tomaresca Naprica from Puglia, Italy, $11. And I think this is pretty widely available. You should be able to find it pretty easily. At least you can ask for it. They can find it. I know up here in the state of Washington, Young's Market carries that wine. So, you know, I've always been a fan of that wine. I still am, and it hasn't let me down. Did I give you a vintage? 2011. What's wrong with me? Engage the mind before the mouth. Let's move on to the next one. Now we're going to go into Tuscany, the central part of Italy, the big boy, the original wines of Italy that everybody really clamors over. Chianti. And, well, this is not a Chianti. It is what they call a Super Tuscan, or this in this case would be a baby Super Tuscan, I guess. This is Avignonesi, Cantaloro, Tuscany 2012. And this is a blend of Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon, there we go, and Sangiovese. So of course Chianti is primarily Sangiovese, and you know they used to have I'm not going to say the name of the grape because I butcher it every time, but it was a white grape that they added into the Sangiovese. Well, they didn't have to do that anymore. Now primarily it's mostly Sangiovese, but now they can add some other varietals. Italy's kind of loosening its grip on that sort of thing. But some of the big boys wanted to make different wines, so they couldn't call them Chianti. They had to call them Super Tuscans. They added Cab, they added Merlot, and so what we got, they just put Tuscany on there, Toscana on this one. Rolls in at $20. Get a lot of, right off the bat, like rust action. A lot of black cherries, currants. Almost like a perfumed, not soap, but close to soap. Really perfumed. Like perfumed red flowers of some sort. I can't put my finger on what red flowers. It's not violet, it's not rose petal. Not sure where I'd go with that on the flower end of it. Maybe violets would be. Tobacco for sure, definitely tobacco. So you get that perfumed element, you get the currants, you get the cherries, you get a little leather, tobacco. I like this nose. I like the aromas on this. It's very deep, very alluring. You can tell this one probably I could have set in a glass just like this. I think after it gets some time, it will definitely flesh out some more. Yeah, it's more of a rose petal. I'm getting rose petal off of this one, big time, along with those other fruits. Let's see what we get on the palate. That's a good bottle of wine. It's got good structure, nice depth. I get the fruit, but there's this nice like crushed rock minerality coming through, but it's not a big, huge part of it. Nice balance of fruit, the currants. I get a little brightness of maybe some red cherry coming through with the black cherry. You know, just a lot of stuff going on in this wine. The tobacco element, big time on the back end. When you swallow the wine, you get that. There's some firmness. The tannins are smooth, but at the very end, there's just a tiny hit of like a little grip, like, you know, give me some time to age. I got some muscle. Yeah, I get a little green and black olive, which I find very interesting. 2012, Avignos. This is a mouthful. Avignonesi. Cantaloro, Toscana, 2012. Great bottle of wine, $20. Okay, give this another whirl here. Yeah, you could lay that one. You could lay that one down easily for the next 10 years. Which is amazing for 20 bucks. That green olive really comes through. Little herbal component. I like this wine. Got a lot going on. I'm going to go A-. I'm going to go A- on that. 20 bucks. Great deal. All right. Now, I wanted to kind of go all over Italy. All the way down from the south, all the way up to the north. This isn't as north as you go. I didn't want to start getting into, you know, Orvieto, some whites. I wanted to stick to reds. This is Paderi Aldo Conterno, very well-known producer in Piedmont. This is Monfort di Alba Barolo, which is Nebbiolo, 2004. Now a lot of you guys might want to smack me around for opening an 04. You know it's still young. Barolos are known to age for a long, long time, but I just had to see how this one was developing. Now this one goes, one on Wine Searcher goes for $85. So, you know, it's not cheap, but I didn't pay $85 for it when I bought it. So, you know, it's gained some money. It's worth more than when I bought it. That's kind of what you want to do in wine. I'm not an investor. I like to drink wine. I'm not a collector. I drink wine. I share it with my friends. That's what I do. And so I don't mind busting open a bottle every once in a while to see how it's doing. So let's see what we get on the nose. This one is, again, this one's very perfumed, very deep. I get a little bit of rust action coming through, which you would expect from a Nebbiolo. I get some violets. Like a little touch of vanilla, cherry. There's just a slightest hint of like a mintiness coming through. This is almost like we'd say like a meaty wine on the nose with that fruit and that iron and that mintiness, which is very interesting. I can tell just by smelling this that it could use another couple hours of decanting. It's not going to happen. I know that for those guys who do go out and buy Barolo, Barbaresco, I know a lot of you out there, you know to decant these babies for a long time, maybe anywhere from 3 to 4 hours in a decanter. Just popping the bottle is not going to do it. Do you realize how little air can get into that bottle just by uncorking it? No, a lot of you guys, you know, you can dump it in a pitcher, whatever you want to dump it in. You dump it in something to give it more surface air to open it up. I can tell that this is going to evolve dramatically over the next couple hours. I'm going to find out, because I'm going to leave, you know, I'm going to decant it as soon as this program's over. This bottle is going to be consumed tonight and tomorrow to see how it develops. But you can tell just from the aromas of the nose that this is a big boy. This is a big, bad ass wine. No doubt about it. Let's see what we get on the palate. Talk about structure. This is like I sat there and licked on a piece of iron and then chewed on some roast beef and then and then ate a violet, then a bowl full of little bit underripe, where'd that come from? A little bit of underripe red cherries. Loads of mineralic crushed rock on the finish. Those good acidity, good strength, good structure. This is a puppy. It's an 04, 10 years old. It's a puppy. Conterno, knows how to build Barolo. And it's amazing to me, like Nebbiolo, this one's it's got a little bit more color, and some of them are almost like rusty water. but the amount of flavor coming out of this one is incredible. You know, if you're in that point in your wine drinking career, in your wine evolution, that you think, you know, maybe it'd be kind of fun, you know, to take a bottle, buy it, and lay it down 10 years, 15, 20 years, if you have the patience. Buy a Barolo. They definitely are made to age, and you'll see if you can afford it. If you can afford it, if you have that kind of income, buy 2 bottles, let one sit for a couple of years, pop it, drink it, and see how it's evolving, then wait on the other one. I love to do that with wine. You know, I can't necessarily afford to go out and buy a bunch of Barolo, but when I get an opportunity to buy a good one, I'll do it because I know they will age, and I love to drink an older Barolo. This 10 years old, I'm enjoying it. It's a good bottle of wine. It's youthful, but it's drinkable, and it has a lot going on. It's very well built. I'm going A+ on this wine. I think it's very good. Has nothing to do with the price. It is just a damn good bottle of wine. I mean, terrific. There you go. Thanks for watching, and I hope you're enjoying the fall as we get into the fall, enjoying the cooler weather, and I hope you're enjoying some great wines. Cheers, and here's to keeping the snob out of wine.